Simone husband say he the prize in a Cracker Jack box.
Just remember that you're the prize always.
Say that one more time.
Just remember that you are the prize.
There's no such thing as a man prize unless you make him the prize.
A lot of women are going to hate me for saying this, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. When it comes to relationships, men are the prize.
Prize is defined by the Britannica Dictionary as something that is won in a contest, given as an award. But I would like to focus on the second definition, something that is very valuable or desirable, and that is difficult to get. Key phrase, difficult to get. Similarly, the Cambridge Dictionary has a mirroring definition, something valuable that's given to someone who succeeds in a competition or given to someone as a reward. But again, it's the second definition that is applicable in today's instance, something that is important and valuable, that is difficult to achieve or get.
Caitlyn Clark will earn $76,535. In the second year, Caitlyn Clark, the number one pick, will earn $78,066. In the third year of her contract, she'll get $85,000, and then the final year she gets $97,000.
Right.
This is what the number one player, who's now at the WNBA, who's already filling stadiums, and they know it because they're already selling out.
And had better ratings in the Final Four.
Right, and I understand people are going to tell me about math.
We understand
the WNBA didn't, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The Caitlyn Clark era is now upon us, and for anyone that watched the women's Final Four, it was clear that women's basketball is set to overtake men's college as the premier draw for March Madness. This may have been a once-in-a-lifetime deal, or simply it could be because a star shined so brightly in the tournament that everyone could only help but benefit from it. In this case, we know that Caitlyn Clark is clearly the prize, but just being the prize does not get the best results for something in the market. There are times when the conditions, say the placement of the market, the item is actually in, or the timing that said person or thing enters the market can make all of the difference when evaluating the quote-unquote prize and its value.
I don't care about math right now.
Okay, now please tell us what a man who's the number one draft pick gets paid.
The number one draft pick in the NBA.
Yes.
A number one draft pick, first year, $10 million.
The gap is so jarring.
It's jarring.
10 million to 78. It's so jarring, the discrepancy.
Yes.
When we're talking about equal pay, that ain't even close.
I know, and I think about the soccer team, the women's soccer team had to fight. It's just like this, I feel like it's the same story, and I understand it's about the WNBA.
We get it.
Wasn't making a ton of money.
We get it.
Understand.
But we also know that things are changing.
Right, this is the moment.
The ladies in this conversation are correct in that this is a moment for women's basketball. And if fans of women's basketball take heed to the opportunity and become fans of Caitlyn Clark and the league she's playing in, it could result in a drastic boon in salaries for women's basketball players all across the WNBA. But just as we spoke of the market earlier, it is not only the item in the market, but the state of the market itself that dictates the going rate. Something that can be seen with OF content. There's a huge discrepancy between the top earning women and the top earning men here. As of now, the WNBA has a minimum salary for veterans of about $60,000 and an average salary of $113,000 for the 137 players. On the other hand, there are upwards of 16,000 creators on OF that are making $50,000 plus a year, and most certainly the great majority of these creators are women. This speaks not only to the items, in this case, creators/athletes that are in the market, but also to the state of the marketplace and how it is the market and the people who understand it that can reap the best benefits from the market.
You was really the catch in...
I always say the men the catch, man. I always say we the catch, man.
Yeah, so she really booked you.
She did, though.
Is what you said.
Because I was fighting it.
Now, he may not have known who she was when he met her, but this is the Simone Biles, Olympic gold medalist. How he put some respect on Simone's name.
A quick look at Simone Biles' social media shows that she and her husband are living their best lives. As we are precisely 4 months removed from the brouhaha about Simone Biles' husband, Jonathan Owens, saying that he's the prize, I could only feel strong curiosity in revisiting not just some of the comments made about Jonathan and Simone Owens, but follow up on these creators in the modern dating market and in the midst of the Western 4B movement.
But he also goes on to talk about how he's the catch.
How did you do that, bro?
Man, it's really how she pulled me, man. That's the question.
And this is why I believe that men like this think so. When you are, as a woman, are pursuing a man, it makes them feel like they're the prize. And she kept messaging him first. She even drove 45 minutes to come see him on the first date. Like, it always seemed like she was in the role of the pursuer. Now, that's how men talk about you when you are the one pursuing them. I always say they chase, we choose.
Several months later.
4B movement is a victory for us because we told them we don't want no old single mothers. They hit the wall, they're over 30, they had children before they got married, and they got a high body count. They're doing us a favor.
We're all very well aware that there is a single male loneliness epidemic going on right now. There's not a single women loneliness problem. The 4B movement is about decentering men, and here they are doing what they always do, and that's putting themselves in the center of somebody else's movement. I think the men are becoming afraid because they're realizing a woman's power. When they see these decreasing rates of marriage and childbirth, they're realizing that it's the women who have decided to make it that way. You're going to have to do the one thing you have been avoiding the whole time, and that is change and become a better man if you ever want to be with any one of these women. No one is settling for you anymore.
Men are the prize.
She really booked you.
She did, though.
Is what you said.
I vote in the year 2024, we put all cishet straight black men on mute. I want to hear y'all open y'all mouths for the entirety of 2024, and I'm dead ass. Sweetheart, we don't know who the you are. Jonathan, is that your name? You Mrs. Biles.
Several months later.
But the women of South Korea have gotten so fed up with the misogyny.
Oh girl, wait, hold on. It's so much worse than that. It's so much worse. And I mean worse in a really good way. Like, like, yay team. The situation has gotten so bad. They don't have any kids. This is delicious. I truly hope that, you know, women here in the States can get it together long enough to make this happen here.
Instead of us being upset by Simone Biles' husband, we should be more upset why so many successful black women keep picking and dating men that don't like them. So I was told women control access to sex and babies, and men control access to marriage. But we don't need marriage for society to progress. So we essentially don't need the one thing that men control access to have a thriving society. And in a society where patriarchy rules and says that men is on top, when you start getting married and people start calling you your wife's husband instead of the husband's wife, that switch is going to be a blow to the ego. But when women no longer want to get married because they're not seeing the benefit of marriage for them, because marriage was never supposed to benefit women, that's why we see an influx of all these red pillars, podcasters, 4G, 4 whatever they're calling it now. It's because they're losing the power they had on women. Russell Wilson is a great example of a man who successfully navigated the shift. He never puts down his wife because he's very secure with his accolades. He's very secure in his career, and he's very secure in his masculinity. When I was being raised, women were seen as something that wasn't valuable. They were something you had, but women weren't as important as men. But now we're starting to see a shift where if women no longer want to deal with the male species no longer exists.
A brief look at the salaries of the NBA as Michael Jordan was just entering his prominence shows something similar to what is going to happen if the WNBA embraces Caitlyn Clark properly. Just as when Jordan entered the NBA, it changed the market for NBA players and thus players around the league benefited from his presence, women's basketball is set to do the same should Caitlyn Clark follow the same trajectory and reshape a new women's basketball market. So what does this have to do with 4B and Simone Biles? Honestly, the correlation is clear. In my opinion, it's difficult for me to understand why people can't see it. Simone Biles understood the market and what she was looking for, and when the opportunity to strike when the iron was hot was there, she did just that. And as many of the people who lamented her pursuing her husband the way she did are now embracing a 4B movement that is alienating men altogether, Simone Biles is living her best life. And the only B she's worried about is the B in her last name now being an O. It is the market that decides which young ladies are sharing photos on horseback with their boyfriend and husbands on Instagram, and those that are championing a 4B movement that is essentially a strike for not getting the man they wanted in the market. At the end of the day, it is the market that will make the ultimate decision. And for men on the outside looking in an increasingly hostile dating market looking to embrace 4B, the idea of changing markets is not only attractive, but may be just plain old common sense. Just like Caitlyn Clark is going to change the market for women's basketball in similar fashion to what Jordan did for the NBA, for many men, a simple move into a new market can make all the difference in them escaping 4B and, in the end, finding a wife. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video. Take care, guys.